YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy Carl coming back at you from Golden Grimmett Productions. This time around, we're going to be reacting to how good was old Larry Bird. Now, this is the first time I've seen this. I don't think I've seen a video where they highlighted like just specifically older Larry Bird when he was in his mid-30s. If you are new, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate it. It helps me out tremendously. But we're going to get straight into this video.
His 13th season with the Celtics. Lately, those seasons have been difficult owing to both back and heel injuries.
His back hurts, his cheek is swollen, and he probably feels every one of his 35 years.
Jeff Malone back at the cat leg. Bird stripped him. Parrish got the ball. What defense? Beautiful defense. McHale to Bird. Got it. And went down hard.
He's missed the Celtics' last 8 games, and he won't be in uniform for their game later today against the Spurs.
Now, we're writing the mid-1980s and Larry Bird is at his career high. He was just voted the league's MVP for the 3rd straight time. And at a time where the league was stacked with more NBA legends that I can actually count, Larry Bird was clearly the best player. Always averaging about 25 to 27 points, 10 rebounds, and 7 to 8 assists per game. The Celtics were the best team in the league next to the rival, the Los Angeles Lakers. And even though the Celtics had Robert Parrish, Dennis Johnson, and Kevin McHale, Larry Bird was not only their leader, but also their best player. At that time, Larry Bird had already back problems, but he felt everything was under control, and he didn't worry too much. At the age of 29, so in 1986, Larry's plan was to play at least a couple more years, chasing more championships, and try to win more titles than Magic Johnson. When we talk about Larry Bird of the mid-80s, one thing to me often gets overlooked. Of course, he was that great shooter and that sensational passer. But let's talk a little bit more about his hustle plays. That to me made him stand out from other superstars. I mean, how many of the best players do you know who were also the guys that would hustle after every loose ball? Dive on the floor even when the game was basically already won. This is something that we have to talk about more often.
You know what I will say? Like, looking at Larry Bird's career, even with the back issues, like even with the overwhelming health concerns that he had at the time, bro would literally dive and put it all on the floor. Like, I think it takes a special player to be able to do certain things like that, especially knowing that they're hurt. He knows he's hurt, and he knows he deals with back issues constantly. He was always diving for loose balls. He was always on the ground. He was always on the court just going crazy.
And even when his back was hurting, that would not change his playing style. Now, we can't forget that Larry's back was not his only problem. In the 1988-89 season, Larry Bird would just play 6 games. This was the result of what his body had to endure over the last 10 years.
Larry Bird will have surgery tomorrow afternoon to remove bone spurs from both heels. He'll miss at least 3 months of the season. Now, the Celtics knew that one day they would have to play without him, but they didn't know it would be this soon. That's the lead story in tonight's NBA Beat.
It was obvious that not only were Larry Bird's ankles hurting, but also his game. Although averaging 21 points, he had just 1 offensive rebound and had yet to attempt a 3-point shot.
All the pounding and all the playing I've done over the past 10 years have caused a lot of my problems, and there's no question about that. I think that I got a lot of years left in me.
He was hurting us both ways out there because he couldn't move the way he wanted to move, and so it's better to have the surgery and get it over with and come back healthy.
Let's take a look at some numbers. As you can see, from 1985 to 1988, Larry Bird was incredible. I mean, in the 1987-88 season, he was almost averaging 30 points, plus grabbing 9.3 rebounds and dishing out 6.1 assists. But then in the 1988-89 season, where Larry Bird only played 6 games, you can see what an incredible drop-off he had. And from this point onwards, his career would change. The following year, he came back and was putting up some incredible numbers. But it did not come as easy as before. His back was giving him more and more problems now, and his body was aching. But because of the way how Larry was raised by his parents, he felt that there was no room for complaints, and he just had to play, even if his back was killing him.
If you get paid to go to work, you got to go to work.
It was a situation that he was seeing almost daily. he had lost the structural stability in his spine. So it would slip into abnormal positions to try and lock itself to get an artificial stability. That's like getting your finger stuck in a door and somebody's still pushing on the door. So what we had to do was unlock his spine, realign it, do techniques that would hold that for 4 hours, 6 hours, that type of thing, and then he'd go play basketball.
Every time I would play, I was wondering if I was going to be in a wheelchair. Was I ever going to be able to, you know, walk on the beach or hold my kids?
His pain and his quest for basketball became all-encompassing. Very few people really knew what Larry was living with, because this was Larry's issue, and there was no sharing of his pain.
You know, I probably should have retired in 88, 89, but it's that competition. Maybe one more chance, me and Magic could get together in the finals, but it never happened.
In the 1991 season, Larry Bird was playing with the aging Boston Celtics team. All the Celtics legends were past their prime, but still Larry Bird had to carry the team on his broken back. But what changed was that he could not do it every single night. He was giving his all, still hustling after every single loose ball, but he now needed more time to get back up. He was averaging around 20 points, 8.5 rebounds, and 7.2 assists. And he was still one of the best players in the league, but he could see that he was in pain. And since this incredible player that seemed invincible for so many years was now human, many of the young up-and-coming players thought that they could destroy Larry Bird. But hey, we're still talking about Larry Legend.
Playoffs against the young Indiana Pacers and their brash leader, Chuck Person.
Look out, Person puts up a three! He's putting on a show!
The series went to a fifth and deciding game in the Boston Garden. But Larry's back was hurting.
He spent the night at the hospital in traction, so he had to be in just unbelievable pain.
I remember walking in the locker room and I saw Larry before the game, and I said, "How you feeling?" "I'm okay, I guess." Well, he wasn't okay. The guy could barely put his pants on.
Well, Larry was determined to be there for his team.
Let's see if they go to Person. There he is. Yes!
As Bird reached deep into his arsenal to counter Person's long-range barrage, the Celtics held the game even throughout a bitterly contested first half. But as the second quarter drew to a close, disaster would strike.
Bird had a knocked away by Samuels. Powers down the recovery. Bird is hurt. Bird is down, and he's hurt.
It was a thud when he hit that floor. You heard that boom. The breath went out of that building because they thought that, you know, that was it.
He got rocked to the floor as he was going to get that loose ball.
When we went in halftime, he was in the training room. So nobody knew anything. And was he going to play anymore or was he all done?
As the second half began with Bird in the locker room,
And then he lost it on the open floor.
the Pacers looked to put them away.
They know the leader is not on the floor. Someone needs to step up now for Boston.
The Celtics were in trouble. The younger, more agile Pacers definitely were in position to win that game.
And here comes Larry Bird.
Then all of a sudden, here comes Larry, and the Garden erupted. You know, the savior was back.
Bird is on the bench. He's got the warm-up jacket on. Listen to the crowd.
I got the sense the Pacers were stunned to see him there, and that they thought, you know, holy you know, what's going to happen now?
Midcourt outlet goes to Bird. Bird spots up from 20. Switch. Rusty Miller shot. Rebounded by Bird. Who rips it down. And he is back in the ballgame.
From a psychological standpoint, you know, having our leader back on the court gave us a tremendous adrenaline push.
In his dramatic return, Bird gave the Celtics new life and added another chapter to his legend.
Larry fakes the shot. So Larry Bird is answering the challenge put forth to him, and he's letting it all hang out today.
The fans at that point wouldn't let the team lose because of what Larry was doing.
Bird has to hurry. 5 in the shot clock. The turnaround. Rainbow is all that, and he's going to the line.
You say to yourself, how many times does he drive that spike through your heart with shots like this?
But certainly this, out of the pages of Willis Reed.
This would not be the only iconic performance of Larry Bird in his mid-30s. In his last year, Bird literally played in his worst physical condition, still averaging around 20 points per game though. He knew right from the start that this would be his last season, and even though he had many games where he did not play well, he would follow up those games with incredible performances. So he did on the 15th of March in 1992. Playing against the Portland Trail Blazers, Larry would have a truly special game, putting up 49 points, 14 rebounds, and 12 assists.
10 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. 10 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. Here's Bird. Wrestling all over. He fires. That's a three-pointer.
When you think about it, bro, players today, if they would have had to deal with the chronic problems that Larry Bird had to deal with, like the back, the face, the bone spurs in the heels, they would have retired. They would have retired. Like, I can say that confidently, they would have retired. And let's be 100. If Larry Bird didn't have to deal with that and he didn't take such a pounding throughout the 80s, he would have played 20 easily. And I could have seen, and I promise, like, I think, me personally, I think he would have got at least 5 championships. I think so. It's subjective. You never know what could happen, but I do think that he would have won more if he didn't have to deal with all those injuries. If he had the medical care they got right now, oh my God, he'd have been better.
Then in 1992, after playing for the Dream Team and winning the gold medal, Larry Bird ended his NBA career.
But I don't think this team could beat our 86 team in Boston. That's just because Patrick Ewing's not a real center.
I felt that Larry and I developed a very good friendship in Barcelona. He was a lot different than I thought he was. He seemed a lot, very caring, told a lot of jokes. We developed that Harry and Larry routine. He talked a lot of trash. I just wish, Larry, I wish you were still playing so I could pay you back for all the stuff you were telling me this summer in Barcelona. I miss you.
I wish I could be there with you tonight on your retirement. I want to congratulate you on a fantastic career. You've had a big impact on my life. Looked up to you all the time and your work ethic. Had a great time with you this summer. It's got to be the highlight of my life to get to spend time with the guy that you looked up to so much. You're the best, and I want to wish you the best in retirement.
Larry, I hear that you retired. Thank goodness. I'm glad. I'm tired of seeing your face. Well, a lot of sad memories to me, but I enjoyed you tremendously. I wish you a lot of luck, and I think you had a very wonderful career, even though you probably ruined a lot of my successful games against the Boston Celtics. And I see you somewhere along the road, somewhere playing golf.
So how good was the older version of Larry Bird? So how good was he when he was in his mid-30s? Well, as you could see, he was still a very good and productive player. And that when his back was broken and he could see that physically he was not in his best shape. But that just shows what a smart and intelligent player he was and how high his basketball IQ was.
Yeah, I think this was a good video for sure, but I think going like with Larry, it wasn't because of a declining skill set or anything of that nature. It was more so like the injuries. I think if he wasn't injury prone, he'd still be like between a 28 and 30 point player. I think it's just the wear and tear of injuries, bro. If you ever played any sport, playing on something that's hurt consistently will diminish you a lot quicker than the average person. I do think, like I said, if he didn't have as many injuries, or if he had better medical care to take care of the issues or the advancements that we have now, he's still between 28 and 29 points a game easily. That's just my opinion. I did appreciate this video. It is always good to switch it up and find different videos about Larry Bird, man. But until the next one, it's been your boy Carl from Golden Grimmer Productions. Peace.